Am I back, guys? Yep, I
Yep,
see
there
it
we
now.
go. There we go.
I see him. I see it now. Welcome
Uh,
back, everybody.
I think it was my bad.
I didn't realize we had crashed just now, so I just spent the last 10 minutes talking. So
It was more like a minute, but yeah, yeah,
okay, it
yeah. That
felt
was
like
that
a
was my
while.
bad. A crash. It shouldn't happen. It did. I'm a freaking idiot. So
Oh, it's not your
look at
fault.
that.
It
Nixel
happened.
just got we got a sub out of the crash. So thanks, guys.
What I
Thanks
was
for.
going to tell everybody, more or less, I was very pleased to see that the players used their heads when I thought it might be a hack and slash crew based on the fact that they'd signed up for a tactical game. So that was very good.
I was surprised in the first game by um, everyone got along completely. You know, um, they enjoyed each other's company completely. We didn't have like a bad egg. I'm not talking about bad egg. That's really mean for me. Like someone who really play styles different and it kind of annoys everyone. You know what I'm talking about? You know, you get that one person who's like, um, damn the torpedoes types, right? You get those. I
Yeah,
guess they call them the murder hobo type. That's the latest term. We didn't have that at all. We also didn't have any people that were out. That were really out for themselves. We had it was a fun group effort, and I really was taken back by how they just wanted to complete the mission and just enjoy the entire experience. And that was
yeah,
what's
absolutely.
that's what
I,
was
I
so
couldn't
cool.
agree. I couldn't agree more with Tim that good tactics do include guile and creativity, and they had that in spades. And like Jay just said, that's very important. Everybody. You don't find this a lot in games. You usually find, but everybody really settled very quickly into a niche and found a role in the group. And I thought that they just did such a nice job of blending their strengths. And there were in my particular case, Jay didn't do this because he doesn't really. This is one of the few things that where he and I differed as far as our game experience goes. I used a caller uh, with team leader, so to speak,
Yeah,
and he uh, he did a really nice job leading the group and kind of coordinating people, and everybody blended their strengths super well. I thought.
yeah. So that I've never done before because it's my friend, so I don't need to, right? Right.
Right, right.
But maybe at a convention, it may be a good idea to do. Um, it
Uh,
was it's really a good idea, I think. Uh, Also, do you do an individual initiative usually?
I do usually do
Okay,
individual
yeah.
initiative,
I
but
know.
from your perspective, here's my pros and cons for it. In your particular game, it makes a lot of sense because of the way that you do things, and that's great. But what I don't like about it is it hinders characters like Candace, high dexterity characters that should have a bonus and would often be able to go first before anybody.
Right,
They lose a little bit of their effectiveness because everybody is using the same platform for initiative.
right. My experience is that with miniatures play style,
Mm-hmm.
individual initiative gets really mucky as far as movement of the figures and who does
Sure.
what and casting a spell. So the idea behind it is it's a simultaneous action for the entire
Right.
party and then the bad guys for the most part because in minis it really unmucks a lot of the issues.
Oh,
Just that,
I totally
yeah,
get why you
yeah,
do it. And
yeah,
like I said, it works good for what you do.
right.
But for me
Oh yeah,
personally, the reason I don't do that is I like to one of the things I really don't like as a DM is I've always disliked DMs that when they give players cool toys. And when I mean cool toys, I'm even talking about their characteristics, whether it be high strength or high intelligence, and they hamstring them by not being able to use it. Like, okay, you've got the invulnerable coat of Arnd, but you can't wear it because it's 2 sizes too small for you.
right.
It kind of takes away the fun for the players. So when they have a benefit like that high dexterity, man, I like to let them use it.
Got it. That makes sense.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Absolutely makes sense. And with your play style, it works very well. You don't put them up against masses of creatures like I
That's
do.
another point. That's
Yeah.
another point. Yeah, for me, a situation like that's no problem. It's easy to manage. For you, on the other hand, got 20 to 30 characters on the field at any one time. I totally get why it
Yeah.
might be a mess.
And the cool thing is different play styles with different DMs is what D&D is all about. So
Right.
I appreciated, and I know I played in that one game of yours. I knew how you're gonna roll with things,
Yeah.
and that's what's really cool is that if you go to a VTT, I'm interested to see. You're gonna have to tweak a little bit, a couple things. I'm
Just
interested
a
to
few
see,
things.
but that rolls initiative for the group, so you'll have the individual initiative right in the
Right.
VTT, which
Right.
is so awesome. There's a
For me,
lot of things.
Nixel, it's really not all that hard to track because
Yeah,
as Jay just mentioned, I don't have so many moving parts going on in my game. I already
right,
have a list of everybody's initiative bonus. In fact, something that Jay mentioned before that I forgot, I neglected to bring up is that before every convention, for every game I run, I create what I call a combat matrix, and that lists everybody's to hit against every monster in the module, how much damage they can potentially do against every monster in the module, and what their initiative is in any encounter in the module. So as a result, all I have to do is cross-reference on that matrix, and I'm ready right away. I don't need to stop. I don't need to think. It's all right there at my fingertips. So
yeah,
for me, it's not that bad
yeah.
because I'm not dealing with 85 characters on the board at any one time. But for Jay, on the other hand, I could see very easily why it wouldn't work.
True. So true. Different play styles, but that's a cool
Yeah,
thing.
absolutely. And you know what, though? The cool thing about it is, and this is, again, soapbox for a moment. This is something I talk about all the time. This is the thing that is so amazing. One of the things is so amazing about our hobby. You can do it in so many different ways, and it's still awesome. I mean, the players love what Jay did. They love what I did. Um, the experience doesn't have to be exactly the same. I mean, your home game is different than mine, which is different than Jay's, which is different than somebody else's. But that doesn't mean it's not just as amazing as anyone else's. There is
Right.
no think about rule zero from that Gary laid down. There is no right or wrong way to play this game. There's only your way.
Right. Absolutely. So next lot of question was is and in general, he says tactics increasing and RP going down. I don't know about that. I thought that in both of my games I played, the roll RP was pretty good. I thought yours they really were stayed in character, which was neat. So
Yeah,
I'd say the answer to that is no. I'd say the tactic in mine the tactics, of course, have always been there, and the RP's there, but it's not maybe as prevalent as Theater of the Mind games, but still I thought that there was both, and the game was very. It felt very alive. It
I
didn't feel
thought
like
so
an.
too.
It didn't feel like a war game, and that's the difference. It's not war gaming.
You know what I did find interesting, Jay, about both of our games over there? All right, anybody that's a first E veteran, okay, or a second E veteran, really a veteran of the game at any level, I suppose. What's the first thing you do after you kill a monster? You loot the body. I mean, that's D&D 101, right?
Yeah,
I've noticed that, and this happened in our game too,
yeah.
okay? Nobody was really looting the bodies.
Not anywhere. No,
It's
they
not
were more interested in the and getting the encounter over with, and then being safe, and then looking around a little bit. I mean, I only have two spots where there's treasure in the entire adventure.
I
That
think
was it.
I tend to think myself that the reason that is because everybody knows it's not a campaign, and so they're not worried about whether or not they find that +4 defender or
What's up, Brian?
whatever. They're not too worried about that. They want to complete the mission.
Yeah.
So I think that that's a big thing, and but I did notice that the looting of the bodies part component of the adventure. I'm sitting there thinking to myself, okay, they've killed all these lizard men. They're definitely going to rifle through. What, you're just going on to the next room?
Yeah, and you would think more in an underground setting too. They may want to do that a little bit more, but they didn't.
Right.
They didn't really do that, and that was what was so cool about the play style.
Absolutely, Nick. So I agree. That's for me, but that's again. it may just be an artifact of the style of gaming that everybody knows it's a one-shotter, so they're worried more. They're all focused. They're all mission focused rather than thinking about what
Good
may happen
point.
in
Very
future
good point.
days.
That's a very good point too. But if you're not a regular with conventions like the Grey Hawk Channel people weren't, but they weren't really worried about it too either. So here I want to diverge off, and I was about to diverge off when I crashed. All right, Wayne Reynolds. Okay, I met Wayne Reynolds. Nice guy. Didn't know he was British. Has a distinctive accent. My favorite artwork of all, and a lot of the publications is Wayne Reynolds did a ton of the Slavers, right? The Marquesa picture, the original one, that's Wayne Reynolds, right? I mean, is there anything more iconic than that original picture of her and Devin standing behind her and her pointing? Here's, Davis the Reaver, right? That picture with him and Piera. I mean, there's nothing more
I might
iconic.
say I have an affection for Marquesa.
So I was excited. Here it is. That is such an awesome picture, right?
Yep.
And it says war.
That's definitely one of my favorites ever.
You
In
know what
fact,
Wayne Reynolds when you see war.
That's what inspired me to contact Wayne Reynolds to do the copy of Fireland at one point in time.
Ah, cool.
Wayne Reynolds was actually an early pick for mine to do Fireland, and in fact, I actually had retained him, but with his particular relationship with Wizards of the Coast, he wasn't willing to do even a Greyhawk Fanon type thing because he didn't want to possibly get into IP things like that, which I totally understand. And I ended up going over to Jeff Easley. I'm super happy with him, but Wayne was actually an early pick of mine.
Good one too.
He's a great guy, by the way. Corresponding with him and dealing with him as far as retaining his services was great.
All right, I also have to do a stop here. Jimmy, wait 1 second, and I'm going to show you something. 1 second. Predators Rejects, Jimmy. I went to good stories. So Wayne Reynolds. The sad thing, I was excited. I'm like, I want a copy of the Marquesa print. I want it. I don't care how much it is. And Wayne said to me, they're all gone. All his artwork from the Slavers, it was lost years ago, and they could never find it. It's missing. I was so upset.
I almost feel like you just told me that the Declaration of Independence, all the copies were lost.
Yeah. Hey, Slug. Slug is on our South Jersey D&D Discord. So good to see you on. Carlos Lysing, the most, how do I put this? The most in-demand, old-school Greyhawk DM at conventions there is, period. Come on, man. Gary Con, you're not going to get all this filled? Yeah, absolutely. So,
well,
I would. What a shock.
I'm almost already filled up. We haven't even started official signups yet for Gamehole Con, and I'm almost already booked.
It's so awesome. That's so fantastic. So, Jimmy, I'm sorry about this, Carlos. I have to do this.
Well, that's okay.
Watch. Well, I fell. All right. So, there we go. All right, Jimmy. So Jimmy was kind enough to give me Jimmy link. There you go. Link. Please link your channel to another one I partner with. Yeah. See, I was ready. I was ready for when you came on. So I myself and
that's nice looking. That's nice looking.
Yeah, absolutely. He gave me a nice T-shirt and of course my fat body 2XL, of course. And we had a great time out with Jimmy and his wife Rachel. Hopefully I said if I'm correct on that. Marco and I, we talked a lot of Twitch business early on. There you go. Look at that. Perfect timing. There he is. Okay. So Jimmy, I had a great time with you hanging out. So I got a whole bunch of Jimmy and his wife picks coming shortly in this scroll, and we talked about the future of Twitch. He has his Wizards of the Couch show with a couple other individuals, and that was the Ritzy dinner night, and it was good. Jimmy's has a whole different access to a whole bunch of different people that I've never met before. That was fun. And why isn't this switching, man? It's really going slow. It was a fun time, and there's our dinner. The five of us. The Gen Con experience was wonderful, and to meet fantastic people like Jimmy Duffy and his wife was just made it even that much more better. But I'll say this: I was weirded out. I'm not bashing it. Jimmy's friend Danny, who's a Wizards of the Couch host. Let's go. Let's go to what Danny's doing. He's doing a Call of Cthulhu live action role play. So, and I'm like, that's a little out of my wheelhouse. So we went, and and the picture's coming up, and we here it is. So we're sitting there just watching, and the one guy tried to convince me to play, and it was he goes, I said to him, "Oh, how long does this go?" He goes, "Oh, about from 8 p.m. to 2 a.m." I'm like, "No, I can't do it for 6 hours." But that's an airplane. So, and the fuselage of an airplane, and people sit down, they live act role play out Cthulhu. Now, I've never played Cthulhu before. I know a lot of people love it. It was a different experience for me. So, I think we were there like an hour, 15 hour, 30 minutes. We just hung out and watched it a little bit. But I got to experience something I would have never, without with Jimmy, I would have never gone to on my own. You know, I was like, wow, Cthulhu live action. And yeah, they're actually watching a movie as that TV screen had a movie on it for it just was great, crazy stuff. Yeah,
Wow,
so
and that sounds pretty cool.
yeah, 6 hours is a long time for it.
I have to be 100% honest.
Yeah,
I'm not as huge a Gen Con fan as you are. There's just too many people for me, man. I almost start getting social anxiety, to be honest with you. There's so many people
yeah.
there,
Well,
and I like a little bit more of a smaller setting like
right,
Gary Con,
right.
which is why it's my favorite show. But Gen Con is a singular animal, man. If you've never been, you have to do it at least one time. You have to do it at least once.
Well, that was my idea for this was to do this this time, and I have a room right at the center in Lake Geneva. I got a silver badge already. Gary Con's in. I've already pre set this up with my wife. I'm there the whole time, and I'm not going to DM as much as you, Carlos, but I'm going to DM at there. So I just got to figure out how much. So
Well,
no, Nixel.
you brought up how in demand my games are. My plan is I'm going to run 4 official games for their module publication games. I try and release all of my modules at GaryCon, the official ones that we're doing. So the people will get to play 4 modules that I'm doing writing for Castle Entertainment for GaryCon that will be actually published. But I also plan on doing several off the books games for my friends that can't make it and that they can't get in, to get frozen out by other people. Because I love playing with new people. I love, getting the chance to play the game and experience it with people I've never met before. But I also feel a lot of times like I don't want my friends to get shut out. So, if you guys are out there and you can't make it into one of my games at Gary Con, just let me know on the sly, and I may have room in another opportunity for you. So I will probably, when all is said and done, probably be running about 7 games over the course of 4 days of Gary Con, maybe even more.
Wow. It's a lot.
Yeah.
2. I was burnt out from 2. So
Sponsored by
Ricola. Oh yeah, I had the smoothies. I had the whole smoothies with me. So up our right hand corner is the setup, and you can see the cameras on a box. Yes, the TV's there. They had this. Yeah, this is the Gen Con setting. There's Taco getting prepped for the second game, playing decks again, the second time. So we're going to talk about this a little bit, if you don't mind, Carlos, because this was a good play test for Horror in the Holes Part 1. Definitely, and plus I may have promised. I didn't promise. I said maybe we could do something about Horror and Holes Part 2 down the road for him. So we'll see on that. So I had DM Shane himself in this game, along with Geek Dice and his daughter Stella Luna, and then I had Winged Horizon Josh, his fiance Monse, and Taco in this game. And you can see the mats out. You can see I have my screen coming. Yes, he has leather armor jerkin on right there. Yes, he does. But they were getting all ready for this. Now, this game went a little differently, and this was played on Saturday morning, and it was broadcast live. So if you want to watch this, it is on the Greyhawk channel under videos, and it is the first. It's the first vid up because they haven't had any broadcast since this, and it's gotten over like 50 views already. And I think we had a decent viewer average for it without even announcing it. So, oh man, Slug, thanks, dude. Thank you so very much. So Slug lives near me somewhere, and that's a cool thing. And was at Gen Con, and and Mark and I didn't meet him. By the way, I'm missing something, and Carlos, we're both missing something. Marco was there and assisted us for the first 6 hours of our game, and did a fantastic job. So DM Marco,
Marco,
yeah, because
great.
Mark was
Yeah,
he was
actually.
supposed to be on, but he's sick. So um, Marco was a savior. Uh,
Yeah, he did great.
yeah, and assistance. And it was, I mean, look at this setup in the upper. there's a microphone there. You can see the foil in the upper left hand. They got the cameras hanging from that. We had 4 cameras going. So I was scared. I'm gonna be honest with everyone. I was scared to run this one. There's my terrain setup for the start of this. I was really a little nervous because the Ground Channel has a much different style than me. It's all 5e. It's a much more theater than mine. A lot RP heavy. But I knew people were interested in the 1e 2e, and Shane was interested as well. So he would flip to this screen for the tactical map, and then he'd go to the RP map coming. So I took a bunch of snips from the video to show this. They had a freaking great time. I tried to capture some of the emotion in this, but they had a wonderful, wonderful time playing this game. And let me see. Shane played Tabitha, Feather Mage. Luna played Millicent. Geek Dice played Erebus. Uh, uh, Josh played the Inquisitor. Mons played Fritz. And Taco played Geek. Taco played Dex again. The game went differently. It went very differently, and they were not ready for my critical hit and fumble table. So Shane's first die roll was a fumble. His third die roll was a fumble.
Oh my goodness!
Look at the emotion on Shane there. Look at that. He actually she had cast a nice storm and killed 3 of the 4 ghouls that came out of the trap. Okay, and then bowed down the 4th one, and then she started getting cocky. I got 5 of the 6 kills out in the field, and the next shot she did, she slipped, and it said showing off. He fumbled like 4 or 5 times. Everyone around that table fumbled. Josh fumbled, fell, broke his arm. It was awesome. So the fumbled and the critical hit and fumble tables were huge. Now I was really kind to them, and Taco will back me up. Yeah, they call themselves the Bumbling Bumblers. Was the name of the group they decided to come up with. So here's what happened: Geek Dice gets critically hit by the really big croc that comes out of the swamp, and that's a 3-18 attack. And he says, "Can I roll the critical?" I said, "Sure, you can roll the critical." So on this wonderful Allen critical hit table that we've used for 40 years, with a lot of enhancements, he rolls a 57. 57 is red, which is Fubard, right? So it's decapitated immediate death on that critical hit table. So he rolls it. If you watch the stream, I start laughing and giggling. I go, I'll roll this. And I changed my mind, and I said, if all of you give me a hero point, I'll re-roll it, and I'll tell you what happened, because I didn't want to kill him off. I was really kind, because it was only my part. So, and I wanted them to really enjoy it. So they all gave me one of their hero points, and then he got double damage and still got put down to 0. But he didn't get his head. He didn't get decapitated. So I was kind, Carlos. I don't know if you would have been so kind. So look at him shaking his head. I was kind to them. I had a blast. Yes, thank you, Talk.
I think the great for me, I couldn't believe what happened with John in that game. He cast the round before. In my part of the game, there's a young black dragon there, and he got hit by its breath weapon, failed its save, but the round right before that, he'd cast Vampiric Touch on a character and gotten 7 hit points out of it, temporary hit points. He got taken down to exactly -7 by the attack, so he was at 0. I mean, exactly what he needed to
Yeah,
live.
because the Vampiric Touch he used.
Yeah, and
So
he still almost ended up dying because of the persistent damage from the acid.
right.
But he happened to have the priest of Tritherion was right next to him when it all happened, and he ended up living. But I'm here to tell you, I'd have killed him.
Jason asked a good question. I'll get to you, Jason, in a second. Look at how happy they are at the end when they won.
Hey, Jason.
Look at that. Look at that joy on that group when they won that. They're like, woo! And that was what the experience I wanted to get. And multiple of them complimented me afterwards. It made me feel really welcome there. And I really appreciated it. And because it's the Greyhawk channel is a completely different, we are the old school niche, right? So, but it was great. Mark, and Nick and Andrew and Tracy all felt welcome. It was very nicely done. So Carlos, that's a good question. I would say I would go, and this if Jeff's still on, everyone knows that Brian created these. I have my own cheating dice right on, and if you are a tier 1 subscriber, you get 5 of our emotes, including Jay's cheating dice that you can flaunt in front of me. No, Nixel, I had everything. I have my figures. I have it all prepped. The characters are mine. These are characters from my campaign, PC and NPC. Yes. So the Jay's cheating dice were out. And occasionally I would go, all right, I'm going to roll this out front. So I did that a lot at the end of the fight with them, Mug Dug had mirror image because I had more time to prep with him because he didn't get oil fiery burninged like he did in the other group. So I was rolling if they were hitting the mirror images out front. I rolled occasionally. I said, here, I'll roll this out. So the answer to that, Jason, is I did it occasionally in this game. I'll do it on a blue moon in my group. I'll roll it out there sometimes. Now, thief checks I don't do. Thief checks, unless it's something life or death with them. Yeah. But it was fun.
Thanks, John. That's really nice of you to say.
Yep.
I before you came here, Jay was asking me about what I thought was some of the coolest stuff you guys did, and to me, the way that you guys actually didn't let your swords do the talking, and you
Right.
actually were able to befriend that character, is probably what ended up saving your bacon in that adventure. So that's well done on the players, right?
They didn't
there.
have to hack and slash through it. That was the big thing. They really did.
Somebody earlier asked about whether Jay's an open or roller or
Jason
not.
Zavada did. Yeah, absolutely.
I am not. I roll behind my DM screen. But another thing, John, you mentioned just now the lava children at the end. There's actually a very cheesy inspiration for that. I am hardly what you would call a Kiss fan, but if you've ever seen the video for I Love It Loud before, you have all these characters coming out of this darkness and this mist at the end, and all you can see are their glowing eyes and their smiles coming through the mist, and that's what I was trying to convey. That was the cinematic sort of inspiration for that scene.
Awesome. So connecting with the cheating dice too, I just had it up. Jeff found Liar's dice. Now I should order some of them just to be funny. So to cheat with. You have some of them, Carlos? You're looking around like you have cheating dice.
I do not. No, I was actually just looking for my Fiend Folio, which is over there, because somebody brought up the Lava Children.
Well, here's what I did in the Wandering Monster encounter table for me. You've seen what I have in there. They had no freaking clue what they were. I had Seafulls in my Wandering Monster instead of the Tyrant Frog zombies, and they had no clue what those insect things were. They didn't.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of using the Fiend Folio because mostly I find that players aren't prepared for them. I mean, you've got players out there. When I go to a convention, you find these expert players. They're everywhere around at the convention. They know, for example, what a particular demon, what all of their Oh, they take half damage against silver. Oh, they don't take cold damage against cold iron.
Right,
You
right,
sit there
right.
and think to yourself, man, how did you remember that? But I find that they're very, very unprepared for Fiend Folio monsters. And this is the Lava Child right over there.
Absolutely. And show the picture with the Lava Child and the Lizard King, which is the
Oh,
inspiration for the whole, which is the
yeah, the
inspiration
Lava
for the whole thing.
Child inspiration for it was there. There we go.
Right.
It's
And
at the bottom of the page.
over the other way. Over.
Right
Yeah,
over
right
here.
there. Yeah.
This picture right there was how I ended up putting Lava Children
That's so awesome. Do
in
me a
the mod.
favor, show the CIFL, CIFAL,
Oh yeah,
Colonial
Cypher.
Insect Form Artificial Life, just so Taco and everyone else realizes I got where I got it from. So
Yeah, the Cypher is
they
that's
couldn't.
one of those monsters that
Yeah, there it
right over
is.
here
There it is. Yeah.
nobody ever uses.
Oh, I did on Saturday. They had two of them. Yeah, that was sick because they didn't realize they're shooting at it, they're swinging at it, and they're doing 1 point.
Yeah,
And Shane finally Snowlock snowball swarmed one that was coming. I did some damage, and then I kind of helped her, and I said make her an intelligence roll. And she failed the intelligence roll, but once again, Carlos, I was being nice. Which is cool. You know, he's shaking his head. Fritz really thinks maybe a blunt, his Morning Star, may be better to use than his Falchion in this case.
right,
And so
right.
I you know, because
Now,
this was more of an
Taco,
exhibition. You
one
know,
of the things about one of the things about my about the Lava Children, I my favorite part of the whole module is the notion of this girl, this small child who can't stop smiling because of the